occurrences within the precincts and outside the precincts of Parliament. I want just to take you, Madam Speaker, to Article 118 of the Constitution. And at Sub-Article 1, Parliament shall conduct its business in an open manner, and its sittings and those of its committees shall be in public. At B, it will also facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and so on and so forth. Now, Sub-Article 2, Parliament may not exclude the public or any media from any sitting unless in exceptional circumstances the relevant speaker has determined that there are justifiable reasons for the exclusion. Madam Speaker, I don't want to go on and on. The point here is that, Madam Speaker, yesterday at around 1:32 p.m., there was unseemly commotion at the gate of Parliament and within the precincts of Parliament along Parliament Road and I think Selassie or Harambe Avenue. Madam Speaker, to an extent that the police were firing tear gas canisters, whose effect actually permeated the precincts of Parliament, including my own office, and affected my own staff and everybody else. Madam Speaker, what I've been briefed is that some members of the public, I think in anticipation of the debate on the finance bill, had come to Parliament, to the precincts of Parliament at the gate, to, of course, either show solidarity with the members of Parliament or express their feelings about the bill, Madam Speaker. They are essentially, I think, picketing within the meaning of picketing under Article 37 of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, why I'm raising this issue is that we need to set the record straight. I don't think we want, as a Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, to act differently from other parliaments of the world, at least of the civilized world. The world over, Madam Speaker, parliaments are known as public spaces, public utilities, public institutions that the public access at will. This happens even at the Capitol Hill in the US, everywhere. You go to Westminster Bay in the UK, everywhere, including some cities in Africa. Madam Speaker, I want you to make a ruling. A ruling, Madam Speaker, to guide first and foremost the House, but more importantly the police. Because if we allow this precedent that was set yesterday to have its way, we are going to basically be telling Kenyans and the world that this House or this Parliament of the Republic of Kenya wants to isolate itself from the very public it's supposed to be serving. Madam Speaker, what is it what kind of threat was the police or was the public, an armed public, going to pose to the House or anybody else by simply coming close to Parliament and picketing and cheering and even jeering, Madam Speaker? We cannot afford to be seen to be complicit in the gagging of the public when they're expressing their views on issues which they feel are pertinent, Madam Speaker. The public must be allowed to not only access Parliament, but also to picket around it, at will, at will. Madam Speaker, I am raising very serious issues, and you know my friend doesn't understand. Yes. He has no capacity to understand what I'm trying to do. Yes. Madam Speaker, we have come a long way as a country. Kenyans went to the trenches. Kenyans went to the trenches to be able to attain the kind of freedoms we have currently under the Constitution. We must jealously guard those freedoms that are enshrined in the Constitution. Yes, your point of order. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Nobody has completed. Have you completed?
Okay, let me conclude.
Yes.
So, Madam Speaker, I simply want to urge you, and let us be tolerant. Let us be tolerant, members. You know, in this House, we have been here with my friend Kimani Chungwa and others. Today, you are there shouting to please people in the executive. Tomorrow, you will be here crying. I'm telling you, we have seen it all here. So, Madam Speaker, let us not be seen to be people who are curtailing the freedoms and rights of Kenyans as enshrined in the very, very progressive Bill of Rights in our Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, my minority leader. Majority leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me just begin first by agreeing with the leader of minority that one, it's good for us to conduct ourselves with some decorum, allow each other to be heard. And as he rightly says, today you may be here celebrating. Next time you'll be on the other side crying, like Opio and I is crying today. And only 9 months ago, Madam Speaker, you know, Opio and I then sitting where John Buddy is sitting, and he used to also like that corner there, would be cheering as John Buddy celebrated very major atrocities against us and the Kenyan people. But I don't stand here to celebrate atrocities against anybody. And I don't celebrate any travesties on the justice of the people of Kenya. And Parliament, as Opio and I says, is an open place to members of the public. However, Honorable Speaker, we live in a civilized democracy. And in a civilized democracy, like happens all over the world, around parliaments, they are picketing corners. Around the world, parliaments, including the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, members of the public are allowed into the public gallery, and with the Speaker's permission, even to the Speaker's gallery, to be able to watch and follow the proceedings of the House. And in this endeavor to have an open parliament for the welfare of society and a just government of the people, that is why even our debates are televised live by the Parliamentary Broadcast Unit to ensure that Kenyans from wherever they are, even from the comfort of their homes, they can be able to follow debates. But that, Honorable Speaker, doesn't mean that we live in an island. And it's only yesterday or the day before, I think it was on Thursday or yesterday, that the Speaker reminded us about our own safety within the precincts of Parliament and more so within these chambers. And he reminded us about the bombing of parliaments around the world, I think in Beirut, in Lebanon. You remember most recently in Burkina Faso, mobs taking over parliament and burning parliament, the parliament of Burkina Faso. And I say we don't live in an island, Honorable Speaker, because we have seen what those who associate with Opio and I, my minority leader, believe to be peaceful protests and peaceful demonstrations. And therefore, if the police in their wisdom feel it is not secure to allow people who purport to be picketers or demonstrators or peaceful demonstrators around and within the precincts of Parliament to protect the Honorable Opio and I, or to protect the Honorable Mwenje or the Honorable Owen Bayer, it is within the right of the police to exclude anybody who they feel is a threat to our national security and the security of members of Parliament, including the Honorable Opio and I, our leader of minority, who must at all times be protected because of the many things he needs to be protected against. And that is why the government of Kenya, through the Inspector General of Police, has even provided a number of bodyguards. I think a minimum of 14 bodyguards, the Honorable Opio and I, as leader of the minority. Yes, you may not know John Buddy. The leader of minority is entitled to 14 bodyguards, guarding even his residences, both in the village, in Nairobi, and elsewhere. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, if the police have opted to ensure the leader of minority and the leader of majority and each and every member of Parliament is protected by the police, even our staff working in this House, Honorable Speaker, deserve protection. And therefore, we should not take it that anybody is precluding people from following the proceedings of the House when the police do what they want to do. And I want to speak to those people who are being mobilized to come and attempt, because, Honorable Speaker, I am also in the know, having engaged with a number of intelligent officers around this house. And you know there are enough intelligence officers in, outside, and around this house, Honorable Speaker, that there are people who are being mobilized. I hear people asking by who. I don't know what is itching you. I say there are people who are being mobilized to attempt to intimidate members of parliament not to come to and carry out their constitutional mandate yesterday afternoon, today, and tomorrow. And I want to ask the Inspector General of Police, even now, anybody who wants to picket around parliament needs to notify the police where they want to picket, over what. If they can write to the Speaker, I am sure around KICC on the opposite side, I think there is already some space that is now already designated as a picketing corner. And you are right to picket and demonstrate ends where mine to carry out my constitutional work as a member of parliament begins. Nobody should attempt to stop any member of parliament from coming to do their work as members of parliament. However you feel about the finance bill or any other business. And you may as well protest in our constituencies. You may protest anywhere else, but do so peaceably or in a peaceful manner and in line with all the provisions of Public Order Act, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I don't want to take that there was any sinister move in excluding people who the police and the Inspector General of Police felt were a threat to the security of members of parliament. Because above anything else, Honorable Speaker, our own safety here, as the Speaker said, the substantive Speaker said yesterday, is paramount. And that's why the Speaker even yesterday was pleading with us, even as we walk in. As I walked in here, I stood there and allowed the Sergeant-at-Arms to carry out a body search on me. I was hoping the Speaker yesterday would name the member who was threatening to strip, because a Sergeant-at-Arms has asked her to be searched. Because members, as the Speaker said yesterday, we must be careful. If we lose any one of us here because of a bombing, or somebody walked in here with a gun. I remember in the last parliament, there was an incident where a member was seated behind me here and was said to have carried a gun. So the things that we are talking about, Honorable Speaker, are not things in the air. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you need to protect the Honorable Babu Owino. Babu Owino has never carried a gun into the chamber. Babu Owino has only carried guns elsewhere. Therefore, you need to make sure that Babu Owino does not walk in here with a gun. Or indeed Kimani Ichung'wah doesn't walk in here with a gun. Or anything else, even a grenade, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would beg that we do allow our security agencies to secure us, but to tell Kenyans and the world that the Parliament and the National Assembly of Kenya is an open place for people, and Kenyans are free to picket. Kenyans are free to air their views. If anything, I said yesterday, this finance bill is the only finance bill, actually the only bill that we have transacted in the last close to 15 years that has had the most robust public participation. As I came this morning, I was listening to a local FM still called Kamehameha FM. And on that Kamehameha FM, Honorable Speaker, I had some former MCA who was a cleaner in my county. Yeah, he used to be a sweeper and was elected, fortunately, as an MCA, pretending to be a finance expert and saying all manner of fake things on Kamehameha FM. But since we know the Kamehameha FM, the owners are part of the propaganda machinery against the finance bill, we allow them. And I also want to assure the people of Kenya, even as they picket, even as they express their views, as I said during the second reading, a lot of the misinformation, lies, and propaganda, including that on Kamehameha FM, will what you are being told is not true. Nobody will die because this finance bill has passed. Nobody will get hurt because this finance bill has been passed by this House. And I want to ask the Honorable Robert Bui also, this afternoon, be ready to vote for those progressive clauses in that bill that you think will be beneficial to the people of Kathiani. Those that you think are not beneficial, I want to ask you to bring amendments and not to play to the gallery. Honorable Speaker, let me end it there because we have very important business ahead of us, and I don't think this was a matter for debate. I just want to respond to my good friend, the Honorable Pio Andai, to assure him that he is secure, he is safe, but as much as you are safe, please do not organize anybody to preclude me from coming to the House or any member of Kenya Kwanza to be intimidated or any member of Azimio to be intimidated by those who support this bill from coming to oppose this bill on the floor. Babu Owino should have the freedom to come and oppose this bill on the floor. And I know those who are not in the House, like my friend, the former leader of minority, the Honorable John Buddy, gets very excited because he needs to be seen that he is opposing this bill. Those who never voted for second reading in Azimio need to be seen and to be heard that they are opposing this bill. Because if they are not seen and heard, you have seen the kind of letters they are getting from ODM. And ODM also, as a political party, Honorable Speaker, must stop intimidating its members. They must stop. Members have the freedom of conscience to vote as they want.
No!
I do not want to name you Lillian Gogo. ODM must protect its members. Stop intimidating members of parliament.
Order, members.
They must be...
Order, members. Order, members. Order, members. I'll give a response to member for Lugari, Nabwera, Nabi. I've given you the mic, member for... Order, members.
Thank you.
Order, members.
Kaa chini wewe.
Give the opportunity.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Lugari, your hand was up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to raise two critical things. Number one, Madam Speaker, we have a duty to protect the Constitution and the integrity of this House. The most important thing that Honorable Andai raised is, Madam Speaker, the issue of throwing tear gas into the presence of Parliament when there was no threat at all. That is the issue. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I was out there when police were blocking people. Those people were not armed. In fact, I walked because they had blocked the road. I left my car and walked peacefully up to this place. Madam Speaker, it is not fair. It is not fair for the majority leader to insinuate that Kenyans who are peaceful are always rowdy. It is not fair to the public who have sent us here if they want to participate by picketing, observing, they be blocked by police. Madam Speaker, I want to confirm that all of us want to have a sober debate. But it's also unfair for the majority leader, in responding to Wandai, to turn it into an ODM Kenya Kwanza issue. That is very, very unfair. We can't allow it.
What's your point of order, Honorable Mbadi?
Madam Speaker, kindly, I want to appeal for sober debate on this matter. Madam Speaker, I think the question before us here is about the rights of Kenyans to picket, the rights of Kenyans to express themselves vis-a-vis what the Leader of Majority has said about the security of members of Parliament. Those are two issues that I think we need to deal with as a House. Whereas I agree that Parliament as an institution must be protected from any harm, any threat, any insecurity. That is also done everywhere in the world. Yes, we don't want to see cases like what happened in Capitol Hill when the supporters of the former President Trump invaded the precincts of that institution. But again, we must allow Kenyans the latitude and freedom to express themselves around the precincts of Parliament peacefully. There is no indication or evidence that those Kenyans who came around the precincts of Parliament yesterday threatened the peace, threatened the security of members of Parliament. If there is that evidence, it needs to be tabled. We need to be tolerant, and as a House, I think it is high time that we created a space. You cannot ask those who want to picket about parliamentary proceedings to go to KICC. It must be around Parliament. And Madam Speaker, we have been very tolerant. In fact, at the gates of Parliament, we have seen Kenyans coming even with pigs and calling us pigs. We never beat anybody. We allowed them to picket. And in fact, Madam Speaker, during my tenure as minority leader, and it is very unfair for majority leader, who is a very good friend of mine, even at personal level, to come to the House and tell Kenyans that when I was minority leader, that I was cheering the tribulations of other members. I think that is unfair to me. I am one member of Parliament. I am one person who power has never gone into his head. I don't allow power to get into my head. And Madam Speaker, for the information of Kimani Ichung'wah, I don't need to prove anything as a member of Parliament for my coalition to know, or my party to know, my level of loyalty and my level of commitment towards the just cause of the people of Kenya. I have done it previously, I continue to do it, and I will do it up to the time that God has planned that I will be sitting in this House. I don't know when. So my friend, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, last Madam Speaker, allow me, because he mentioned me about 3 times. He's my very good friend. And I want to persuade him again that, you know, when you get power, manage power. I see the majority leader as a gentleman who used to be very polished when he was the chair of the budget committee and when he was my student as a legislator. I have been tutoring him, including his coming to my house, and we were discussing, and I've been telling him how to conduct himself. When he has become majority leader, Madam Speaker, he is completely wasted. He has become arrogant. He even talked to seniors like me, and very rude. So, Madam Speaker, please save us from the majority leader.
You cannot impute on the character of others. Honorable members, we have other business to transact. I think the point raised by Honorable, you don't have the mic. Honorable Okello, you do not have the mic. Honorable members, I think the issue that has been raised by Honorable Wandai and also responded to by various members and their views given. As we know, the happenings of tomorrow, of yesterday, Honorable Babu Owino, you do not have the mic. You're out of order. You have risen without permission. No, Honorable Babu. No. For you to rise and shout from your chair is, in fact, disrespectful. Honorable members, like I said, we have already, this matter has been ventilated sufficiently. Everyone has given their views. Unfortunately, I'm unable to make any decision on it now because I do not have the facts. I probably will need to, I don't have the investigation of what transpired yesterday with me, so we'll defer that for communication later from the Speaker's chair. So I think now we will move back for efficiency of Parliament. We need to move back. Yes, I know that. Last time the matter is not properly before the House, and therefore there is no need to debate on it. We shall have opportunity to debate on it later. So right now, let us move back to order number 5, papers Budget Chairperson, Budget Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 21st June 2023. Report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the below bills. 1, the Equalization Fund Appropriations Bill, that is the Senate Bill number 3 of 2023, and number 2, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, that is Senate Bill number 16 of 2023. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, exemption of business from Standing Order 43.
Majority Leader.
Order number 8. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House resolves to exempt business appearing as orders number 9, 10, and 11 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party, or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable Speaker, as I've said, this motion is just a procedural motion to allow debate on 1, consideration of the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 2022-2023. We also have the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 16 of 2023, and the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bill number 3 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, these motions and bills are sponsored by the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and we need to avail time for their passage of these very important financial bills that have timelines, and that is why in the House Business Committee yesterday, Honorable Speaker, we did agree as the House Business Committee that would exempt business in line with the provision of Standing Order 43 to allow us to be able to transact business this morning, and therefore stand down the private members' motions until we finish with the orders at order number 9, 10, and 11. And Honorable Speaker, that does not mean should we be able to finish them in time, because I can see we have slightly less than 3 hours to transact those bills. Honorable Speaker, in case we are able to finish, there are also other motions lined up, but looking at the time, Honorable Speaker, we may not have time for this. Honorable Speaker, even as I call on a seconder to second, if you indulge me, since my good friend, the Honorable John Buddy, alluded to the fact that I could be arrogant, and he knows, and I've been to his house, and he knows what I went to do in his house. And he knows it had no tinge of arrogance, but he knows I am a person who believes in the truth, and at times, people like John Buddy will mistake being told the truth for arrogance. But I have no tinge of arrogance, but I have a penchant for the truth and saying it as it is. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, even I say as it is, I will ask that he bears with me. And it's obvious, at times students become better than the teacher. And it better not be a problem to the teacher when the student became better than the teacher. Honorable Speaker, allow me to ask my good Deputy Whip, the Honorable Naomi Wako, member for Marsabit County, to second.
Madam Speaker, I second. Thank you.
What's your point of order, Honorable Makali? Honorable Makali, why don't I propose the question first, and then you... Honorable Makali, please give your point of order after. It has been seconded. That's what I said, yeah. The honorable member, I requested politely that if you could have a seat, I put the question. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as orders number 9, 10, and 11 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable members, Honorable Makali, just put what's your point of order?
Yeah,
in the middle of...
You know, Honorable Speaker, with all due respect to honorable members, you must realize that this is a house of rules and procedures, and a point of order is allowed in the standing orders. You cannot deny a member a chance to talk.
What's your point of order? Go ahead with your point
Honorable
of order.
Speaker, yesterday, Honorable Speaker, when the Speaker of this House, the National Assembly, was making a statement before we went for Committee of the Whole House, he did say that if we go by midnight and we'll have not completed the bill on finance bill, this morning we will be moving a procedural motion to continue the finance bill. The leader of majority of this House is now not moving this House to debate the finance bill. He's moving a procedural bill to bring other bills. When the Speaker of this House did direct that this morning the members will be debating finance bill if we don't complete by midnight. And we are very much aware, Honorable Speaker, that this has not been changed. We have not completed. How I wish that you as the sitting Speaker now, you would have guided the House, because that was the directive from the Speaker before we get to this other business, Honorable Speaker. That's my point of order. Thank you.
Yeah, the Speaker did not make any such ruling. Yes. May we put the question? Is it the mood of the House to put the question? And in any case, honorable members, in any case, the minority leader, the majority leader sit in the House Business Committee, and you actually know what transpired there. Yes. So let's put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as order number 9, 10, 11 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Next order. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Consideration of the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 2022-2023.
Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that...
Honorable Budget, hold on 1 second before you move.